There is a rapper in the US called DaBaby. Now,
DaBaby.
I don't know why a grown man has that name, but it doesn't seem to be unusual. Everyone is just acting like this is a totally normal name for this guy to have. And in fact, the controversy surrounding this person is not his name or the things that he's rapping about. It's the fact that he said something about gay people and HIV. You can imagine where this went. So he was doing a festival called the third day of the Rolling Loud 2021 Festival in Miami on July the 25th. And between songs, he got up on the stage and said, and I'm going to have to censor some of the things I'm going to say here. This is a very important song to me because, baby don't politic. I'm a real N. I be on that cash S. He also said, if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 or 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighter up. So, he said, ladies, if your vagina smells like water, put your cell phone lighter up. Fellas, if you ain't sucking D in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up. He got cancelled, if you can believe it.
Yeah, I can believe that. Even though that would be completely standard for the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God bless the 90s. Yeah. So what do you make of that?
I know what he means about the Evian. Like the best flavour of pussy is Evian. But yeah, I mean, I can sort of that's a bold move. It's also kind of outmoded because I mean HIV hasn't been a deadly disease for some time now. You don't die in like 3 weeks. I mean, obviously there's it's a long-term thing, and you might have your life shortened, but it's a manageable condition now.
It is.
So yeah, I think it's like he's stepped out. He's stepped into like a wardrobe in 1992 and then stepped out now and just cancelled himself.
It's so wild. And I mean, the thing is, I can see why he's trying to raise awareness, because this is a genuine issue, right? So according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in the United States, in 2018, gay and bisexual men made up 69% of the 37,000 new HIV diagnoses in the United States, and approximately 492,000 sexually active gay and bisexual men are at high risk for HIV. So it's not that there isn't a problem, and diagnoses among the black community are the highest as well, as you can see from the stats there. They actually have the largest share of the number of people diagnosed with HIV. So this is a problem within the black community. So it's not that he's just speaking to nothing. There is an issue here.
So, but do you think he was really trying to raise awareness of HIV amongst the black community?
Well, it sounded like he was. Like,
if your pussy smells like water.
Okay, well that not so much, but the other part, yes, I think he actually is identifying something that it affects probably friends and family members of his, right?
Yeah.
It's just that he seems to have forgotten that, well, the internet exists and it's run by leftists.
Yeah.
So this...
And I guess, it's also interesting the difference, like COVID is treated with compared with HIV.
Oh yeah,
because absolutely. COVID is seen as if you're not following all these restrictions, you're an evil person. Yeah. You're risking the community, you're spreading it and stuff. Whereas with HIV, people are much more sort of standoffish. There's no sort of nobody going around doing mandatory condom checks or anything like that.
No, I mean, California recently decriminalized giving someone intentionally HIV.
Really, right?
So that's no longer a crime.
Right.
It's like, okay, but it is still a deadly disease.
But if you don't wear a face mask on the bus, then you're going to jail.
Well, yeah, literally. But anyway, so apparently 1 in 6 gay and bisexual men with HIV aren't even aware they have it. And things like this. So it is a real problem in the gay community and disproportionately is affecting the black community in the United States. So for DaBaby to come out and say something about it, it's a real issue. But anyway. So
do you think he'll come back from this cancellation?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Because it's interesting now when
do you want to hear how he defended himself?
Yeah, I definitely want to hear this.
I mean, this is just gold. Obviously this all kicked off on Twitter, right? And so he took to Twitter to say this: "What me and my fans do at a live show, it doesn't concern you N-words on the internet or any of you bitter bitches on the internet. It's not your business what I do at a live show for the audience at the live show. It'll never translate correctly to someone looking at a little 5-second clip from their goddamn crib on their phone." That's a brilliant response.
That's a pretty good point, because the same thing happens in comedy. You see comedians getting cancelled for, like, somebody tweets a 20-second clip of them in a club, and you don't have the whole context. You don't know if they're doing a callback to something that somebody else did or said beforehand, which is often, when it happens, they're doing an ironic, ironically mocking or referring to something that previously happened in the club. And you don't, unless you're there in the club, you don't know how that, like, comedy is one of these things I've never understood why people seek to police it and cancel comedians, because we're already performing in front of a jury who, if we say anything that's genuinely sexist and racist and homophobic and all the rest of it, people won't laugh because that's horrible, So we don't need extra policing, and all it does is makes comedians self-censor more, so they they stay safely away from the boundaries, from the edge where all the funny happens.
But even then, I actually, like, you always hear the sort of, there's no place for racism in society. I always think, well, yeah, there is, and it's in a comedy club, actually, we're making fun of it. So the comedian gets up, he says something that is racist, so the people will laugh at him for deliberately going outside of the bounds of what is reasonable. And so that's funny, and it's like, okay, so we define racism as something we laugh at. We're so against racism. Racism itself is just something that someone does to make themselves look bad on purpose. And that's where it belongs, because then it's not in real life. Then it's quartered off. But anyway, let's get back to what DaBaby was saying. He says, I wasn't going on a rant. That's called a call to action. That's what it's called, because I'm a live performer. I'm the best live performer. He's like the Donald Trump of the rap world. You interact with your fans. You get what I'm saying? All the lights went up, gay or straight. You want to know why? Because even my gay fans don't got effing AIDS, stupid ass N-words. They don't got AIDS, my gay fans. They take care of themselves. They ain't got no nasty gay ends. They ain't no junkies.
I mean, that's a pretty compelling argument.
I agree. I like it when people stand their ground.
Yeah. Also, man, like, when people riff, when people go, speak, this stream of consciousness stuff, I think they should be cut some slack. I
agree.
Because they're not, it's not like they've prepared it and then given it as a speech.
This wasn't my thesis.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't sound like he says much that's going to be different from that, but, like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I look forward to, he continues. He's not done yet, right?
Amazing.
He says, I say, if you don't suck dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone light up. And you know what my gay fans did? They put their mother effing lights up. Because my gay fans, they ain't going for that. They got class.
Good to hear it.
They ain't sucking no dick in no parking lot. You got to get a room. Good one, 5-star hotel for the night.
Well, this is surely progress.
I think so.
I mean, a homophobe in the 80s wouldn't have said, listen, gay sex is all right if you do it in a 5-star hotel. No Travelodge, but a 5-star hotel.
I just like the standards,
Yeah.
And he literally says that, we ain't just going for nothing. Even my gay fans got standards. You're N-words tripping. You're bringing negative attention and energy upon yourselves. And the ones that's doing it are the ones who didn't even attend the show, so this S doesn't concern you all. This went down like an absolute lead balloon, if you were wondering.
Did people not like it? Didn't Chelsea Clinton retweet it?
They didn't consider that maybe he had a point about standards. They freaked out, and literally within days he was being dropped by his brands. So he was partnered with,
I need to see the bottom of this picture because it, oh right, okay,
thank God, yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was actually doing something that he would then later criticize himself.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, he's not in a 5-star hotel, so yeah. But Boohoo Man, which is apparently a clothing company,
right.
They released a 100-piece collection with him, and then they said, actually, we're going to drop him because we stand and support the LGBT plus community and do not tolerate any hate speech or discrimination in any form. He's not anti-gay. He's anti-sucking dick in parking lots. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, he's pro-sucking dick in a 5-star hotel.
Exactly. But yeah, no, he got dropped. He also got disavowed by his friends. I don't know who any of these people are, by the way. So Dua Lipa, who previously worked with him, says she's surprised and horrified at her friend's comments because she believes in sucking dick in parking lots. And she wrote in her Instagram story that she didn't recognize this as the person I worked with and stood 100% with the LGBT community. Right. They can't just go indoors. We need to come together to fight the stigma around and ignorance around HIV and AIDS. And so, yes, this is lovely. Of course, he was attacked by Elton John.
Right.
Why not? Now all of the luminaries of the music world are turning on him. Again, I don't know who this guy is, but, Elton John said, "We've been shocked to read about the HIV misinformation and homophobic statements made by DaBaby at his show. This fuels stigma and discrimination is the opposite of what our world needs to fight the AIDS epidemic."
I wonder if he'll come back, though, because when people get cancelled now, because people have the direct relationship with the fans, they're not as dependent. Like if an agent drops a comedian or, venues cancel a tour, like the comedian can, or the artist, the musician can find ways around that. I mean, even if
Andrew
they're...
Lawrence style.
So they can have a Patreon and they can do, videos on YouTube direct for the fans.
Yeah.
So I think, I wonder if it's actually going to fully cancel DaBaby. I mean, obviously it's going to cost him because I think Boohoo Man would have been giving him lots of money for the clothes.
Doubtless. But it's going to have cost him a lot of money. But that's the point, isn't it? He'll probably survive.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got attacked by Madonna because why not?
Yeah.
Due to his homophobic rant. She says, if you're going to make hateful remarks to the LGBT plus community about HIV/AIDS, then know your facts. After decades of hard-won scientific... I love we're getting a science lecture from Madonna.
From Madonna. Yeah, why are people expected? Like, I would never look to DaBaby for the latest science on HIV. I know that it's like reading The Sun. It's like you filter it. When it goes in, it's entertainment. You don't take it as gospel.
Sure, but I did need to know what kind of hotel that I needed to have. So, I mean, he does have some authority.
And I agree with the pussy smelling like water thing.
Yeah, you can't argue with that as well. Anyway, after decades of hard-won scientific research, there are life-saving medicines available to children born with HIV and people who contract it through blood transfusions, dirty needles, or exchange of bodily fluids. These new antiretrovirals can keep a person with AIDS alive for the rest of their lives. They keep them alive
even
for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, everyone stays alive for the rest of their lives. That's how lives work. But also, she's spreading misinformation here as well because she's saying AIDS is not transmitted. A person with AIDS can be healthy. AIDS isn't the virus. The virus is HIV. Yeah. AIDS is the syndrome. The syndrome it causes, the disease it causes. Yeah. So you can have HIV and not have AIDS.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying... I don't think Hollywood is sending their best here. But AIDS is not transmitted by standing next to someone in a crowd. Well, no one thinks that it is. She also rejected his sexist remarks and said, presumably against the smell of a woman's vagina, discrimination against women who fight daily against the oppression of living under the constraints of the male gaze. I find that highly ironic coming from Madonna.
And when she says male gaze, it's Gaze.
Yes.
Yeah.
The wrong kind of gaze.
Yeah.
But that I mean, isn't that just highly ironic coming from Madonna? Do you remember what her videos were like in the 80s?
Yeah.
The 90s?
I'm pretty sure I got chlamydia from watching one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Male gaze, the gall on Madonna complaining about that when that was her entire bloody career. Yeah. Shut up. Oh, God. But anyway, people like you, DaBaby, are the reason that we're still living in a world divided by fear. That's right, it's your fault. Madonna is going to put this all on you.
And it's interesting language she uses. She's sort of othering a section of society there. People like you.
Oh, yeah.
So she's
Black men.
I don't consider that to be... Yeah. I mean, that's the sort of undertone there. So Madonna's a racist.
I agree. Cancel Madonna.
I think we should cancel it.
Finally. But the thing is, this just kept spiraling out of control. Because, I mean, he may be homophobic and misogynist, but he's also transphobic. Somehow.
Where did he...
Nothing.
Oh, it's just inextricably linked.
Yeah, the Laverne Cox. I don't really know who that...
Deftly explains.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's done all this. The intersectional links between homophobia, transphobia, and misogyny, right? So the victim just needs to represent the feminine in the mind of the perpetrator. I don't know if that's what he was thinking. Like, I don't think he was thinking the gay men are feminine. Anyway, and so what this reminded me of is something I've always intrinsically known. The relationship between homophobia, transphobia, and misogyny are inextricably linked. If we look at the incident with the artist I won't name, obviously referring to DaBaby, I think we all know who I'm talking about. In the same performance, he made anti-gay statements against people living with HIV, and there was also misogyny. There were also comments about women's body parts, and he brought out a man who was accused of assaulting a woman. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but in the same performance where his musical artist spewed deeply troubling homophobic and anti-HIV comments, I love the way it's anti-HIV. Anti-HIV. Oh, no, sorry, I'm pro-HIV. I don't know what you're talking about. I would never be anti-HIV.
Yeah.
But anyway...
are you allowed to be anti-COVID?
God only knows at this point. There is also the misogyny of language used around the women's body parts and standing accused and not convicted of shooting a black woman. So we have the intersection of homophobia, misogyny, and misogynoir.
And also shooting a black woman.
Well, that's an accusation that's apparently someone else on the stage is having leveled against them. I don't know whether that's true. But the point is, DaBaby is all kinds of bad in every single way.
But aren't rock stars or, music stars, aren't they supposed to be bad?
Not anymore.
Like Johnny Cash, all the,
All of my heroes were pieces of...
Yes,
yeah.
Like, nobody looks to Motley Crue for spiritual, actually I kind of do. But yeah, Motley Crue Motley Crue, like, the guy killed someone in a car crash.
I mean, that was the fun about reading about rock stars, right?
Yeah,
they did crazy things you would never do. And you'd be like,
horrific things.
Yeah, wow, that's mad.
Treated people awfully.
Yeah, and like smashed up hotel rooms and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, wow, that's...
And had the most idiotic ideas.
Yeah.
They're all into like Satan or whatever it was.
Yeah, and they were meant to actually kind of be like the example you didn't follow.
Yeah.
Don't be like this. It's like, oh, good, I'm glad that exists.
Yeah, now they've got to be perfectly groomed Harvard gender studies graduates.
Yeah, exactly, actually. They're not allowed to just speak off the cuff. But anyway, so after all of this, DaBaby decided to apologize, which, as anyone who's followed any of this for any amount of time will know, it's not going to work. They don't care. They've already condemned you to being the worst person on earth. He tweeted out, anyone who done ever been affected, oh my God. And that's an affected with an E, not affected.
Is his PR company run by the Dukes of Hazzard? Because this sounds like something Boss Hogg would say.
It does. It actually does. So anyone who's ever been affected by AIDS, HIV, you all got the right to be upset. What I said was insensitive, even though I have no intentions on offending anybody, so my apologies. But the LGBT community, I love the but there. But. Love a good but. But the LGBT community, I ain't tripping on y'all. You do you. Your business is your business. Yeah, so breaking dispatches from the Dukes of Hazzard there. But this didn't help anyway because he kept getting dropped. So he's being dropped by all the festivals now. So this is Parklife Festival in Manchester. Dropped him because,
But I wonder who else is on, who's performing on that festival, who's said equally terrible things in the 90s or whatever, and is still working.
That's a great point. And basically, the Eye of Sauron on Twitter, when they discover it, then they'll get cancelled, and that's how it works. Also by Lollapalooza, that famous safe space where all of the kind, polite, and very mainstream performers go. He was dropped on this because apparently Lollapalooza was founded on diversity, inclusivity, respect, and love. With that in mind, DaBaby will no longer be performing. Bad luck.
Yeah.
I think he's an absolute hero for just coming out and being like, no, get fucked.
I do like how he, his first, he was obviously still on some sort of cocaine high when he made his follow-up statements. He's like, no, I meant it, come on. Get that, you suck dick in a parking lot and all this. It's all right if you do it in a 5-star hotel. And then he like sobers up in the morning. He's like, oh my God, maybe I should apologize.
I always appreciate anyone who doubles down on their rants.
Yeah. Well, I mean, apologizing never makes it go away. Never. If anything, it draws more attention to the.
And then they start picking apart the apology, don't they?
Yeah.
They're like, you didn't really mean this. You're only doing it because you're being cancelled.
Yeah, and the apology, the way it's worded, shows patriarchal tones and systemic racism.
Oh, trans misogynoir coming from. Oh God, just kill me now. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.